Hi, how's it going?
Hi, Robin.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Okay. Okay, we'll begin in just a moment, Council. Okay. All right. Good evening. We will call this meeting for June 21st, 2021 to order. If you would all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
Indivisible, with liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for all.
for
Thank you. All right, so this evening, per Governor Inslee's emergency proclamation 20-05 and 20-28, and stay safe, stay healthy, the City of Auburn is holding public meetings virtually at this time. City of Auburn Resolution number 5581 designates City of Auburn meeting locations for all regular, special, and study session meetings of the City Council and of the committees, boards, and commissions of the city as virtual locations. Sean, will you please call roll?
Deputy Mayor DeCoursey,
Here.
Councilmember Baggett,
Here.
Councilmember Brown,
Here.
Councilmember J-Raj,
I'm here.
Councilmember Malenga,
Here.
Councilmember Stearns,
Here.
Councilmember Trout Manuel.
Here.
All right, thank you. I don't believe we have any agenda modifications this evening. And we have no new business, so we will move to, let's see. Tonight, we do have a public hearing. And for the public hearing, it is virtual participation. Any interested person was invited to submit written comments voicing approval or disapproval of the 2022 through 2027 Transportation Improvement Program. All written comments were to be received by 5 p.m. today, June 21st, 2021. And Sean, did we receive any public comments?
No, Your Honor, we did not.
All right. So with, I will still open the public hearing. We'll open the public hearing for the 2022-2027 Transportation Improvement Program. Is there any staff presentation, Ingrid, that is necessary?
So there's no planned staff presentation, but we're happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions on the Transportation Improvement Program or TIP? All right, I see a lot of heads shaking side to side, so I will take that as a no. And since there was no public comment received prior to 5 p.m. today, I will close the public hearing. Next, we will move to audience participation. This is the place on the agenda where the public is invited to speak to the City Council on any issue. Sean, did we receive any public comment?
No, Your Honor, we did not.
All right. So we have no public comment for this evening. But just as a reminder, for public comment, participants can submit written comments via mail, fax, or email and all written comments must be received prior to 5 p.m. on the day of the scheduled meeting and must be 350 words or less. Comments may be mailed to City of Auburn, attention Sean Campbell, City Clerk, 25 West Main Street, Auburn, Washington, 98001. They could be faxed, attention Sean Campbell, City Clerk, to 253-804-3116, or they may be emailed to publiccomment@auburnwa.gov. We have no correspondence this evening, so we will move to Council Ad Hoc Committee reports. Council Ad Hoc Committee chairs may report on the status of their ad hoc council committee's progress on assigned tasks and may give their recommendation to the City Council, if any. We currently have one ad hoc committee, and that is Finance, chaired by Councilmember Baggett.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Council Ad Hoc Finance Committee, consisting of myself and Councilmember Jayaraj, reviewed 133 pages of claims vouchers totaling $5.2 million, dated 6/21/21. The committee also reviewed payroll vouchers in the amount of $2.4 million for the period 6/2/21 through 6/15/21, and it was approved for payment on 6/21/21 with the approval of council. Based on the committee's review of the claims and payroll vouchers, as noted, the committee recommends council approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Baggett. All right, we will move to the consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered by the City Council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Thank you, Councilmember Trout Manuel.
I second that, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. The consent agenda this evening consists of the minutes of the June 7th, 2021 regular council meeting, the minutes of the June 14th, 2021 council study session, and the claims vouchers and payroll vouchers as described and recommended for approval by Councilmember Baggett.
Thank you. All right, are there any questions or comments? Councilmember Trout Manuel, did you have a question? No?
I'm sorry, the hand didn't go down. Sorry.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, if there are no questions and comments, if you would please unmute council. And all those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Consent agenda passes. We have no unfinished business this evening, so we will move to ordinances. Ordinance number 6823, an ordinance amending ordinance number 6759, amending the deadline to complete conditions associated with vacating right-of-way of a portion of the alley north of 3rd Street Northeast between B Street Northeast and Auburn Avenue. Do we have a motion? Councilmember Stearns.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move to adopt ordinance number 6823.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would second that motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Stearns.
Thank you, Your Honor. The background is that Davis Development Services has requested an extension of time in which to complete the conditions associated with right-of-way vacation number V119, which we previously approved on March 16th, 2020 under ordinance number 6759. The current deadline to complete the conditions is September 16th, 2021, and the staff supports an extension of 1 year to September 16th, 2022.
Thank you. Council, are there any questions or comments? All right. All those in favor of ordinance number 6823, please unmute and say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Ordinance 6823 passes. Ordinance number 6824, An ordinance providing a temporary waiver of right-of-way use permit fees set forth in Auburn City Code 12.60.020 and 12.60.025 for outside restaurant seating in response to the phased opening of commercial businesses following the COVID-19 declared public health emergency. Do we have a motion? Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would move for adoption of ordinance number 6824.
Thank you. Councilmember Stearns.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown.
Thanks again, Your Honor. Ordinance number 6824 authorizes the continuation of the temporary waiver of right-of-way use permit fees for outdoor restaurant purposes until the governor declares that the emergency related to COVID-19 has ended.
Thank you. Council, are there any questions or comments? All right, if you would please unmute. All those in favor of ordinance number 6824, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Ordinance 6824 passes. Ordinance number 6825, an ordinance relating to controlled substances and repealing Chapter 9.22 of the Auburn City Code and amending Auburn City Code 9.24.010 to conform with engrossed Senate Bill 5476. Councilmember Jayraj.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to move to adopt ordinance number 6740. Thank you.
Councilmember, I believe it's 6825.
I apologize. It is 6825.
Thank you. And Councilmember Baggett.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Jayraj.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state legislature revised the state's laws when it passed ESB 5476. The revisions render Auburn City Council Code 9.22 inconsistent with state law and obsolete. Ordinance 6825 proposes to repeal Auburn City Code 9.22 and amend Auburn City Code 9.24.010 to bring the city's code in line with state law as revised. The city supports the adoption of ordinance number 6825.
Thank you. Council, are there any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of ordinance number 6825, please unmute and say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Ordinance 6825 passes. Resolution number 5597, a resolution authorizing the adoption of the 2022 through 2027 Transportation Improvement Program. Do we have a motion? Do we have a motion? Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. My finger would not hit the raised hand. I move to adopt resolution 5597.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown.
I would second that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. The RCW requires that our transportation improvement plan is amended by June 30th of each year. And each year we have a fairly extensive review and discussion related to the projects within the TIP. So this is our multi-year planning document for the development of transportation facilities within the city. And it needs to be amended by June 30th each year. So we are in the process of doing that as we do normally every year at this time.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Trout Manuel, did you have a question? No? Okay, sorry. All right. Are there any questions or comments on resolution number 5597? Hearing and seeing none, if you would please unmute. All those in favor of resolution number 5597, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Resolution number 5597 passes. Resolution number 5599, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a second amendment to the interlocal agreement between the city of Auburn and the city of Federal Way related to the Puget Sound Auto Theft Task Force. Councilmember J. Raj.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to make a motion to move to adopt resolution number 5599.
Thank you. Councilmember Malinga.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Councilmember J. Raj.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Puget Sound Auto Theft Task Force operation provides benefit to the residents of Auburn as well as our neighboring communities. The central location is an integral part of the task force effectiveness. This amendment clarifies the term of the interlocal agreement and reduces the rent and utility charge to equal the grant funds.
Thank you. Councilmember Stearns, did you have a question?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm just, I'm not totally familiar with this resolution. And I was just wondering if our city attorney could just provide a little bit more background, or someone on our staff.
So that I will provide a little bit, and then perhaps Chief, if I don't get this correct, but the Puget Sound Auto Theft Task Force is in one of our city-owned buildings. The city of Auburn is a member of the Puget Sound Auto Theft Task Force. And so when we had a facility available and the task force needed to find a new location, Auburn provided that location. And so there is a grant associated with that task force. And so this resolution, or this second amendment to the interlocal agreement, allows the changes to be made to coincide with the amount of the grant for the rental or the leasing of that facility. Is there more information that you would like to have?
I think that's really helpful, Your Honor. I just, it's probably me, but I didn't recall hearing about this beforehand.
So the task force has resided in one of our facilities for the last 4 or 5 years. Actually, I think it started when Chief Lee was still here. So, and he retired in 2018. So it was about 2016, 2017 timeframe.
Okay. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Absolutely. Any other questions or comments? Right, hearing none, all those in favor of resolution number 5599, please unmute and say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Resolution number 5599 passes. Right, we will now move to mayor and council member reports. Mayor and council may report on significant items associated with their appointed positions on federal, state, regional, and local organizations. And we will begin with Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. I have just one item to report on. On June 11th, on behalf of the mayor, I attended the Lakota chapter of the Daughters of American Revolution Little Free Library dedication over at Indian Tom Park. Little Free Library is a nonprofit organization that has a mission to be a catalyst for building community, inspiring residents and readers, and expanding book access. The kiosk that the Little Free Library is in at the park was provided by Lakota chapter applying for a grant through the city, which they received, and volunteers to help construct and build and paint the kiosk, and the city park department to help them install it. It's quite an interesting little thing. It's a 2-shelf box, and it has a plexiglass face on it, and children across the neighborhood and even adults can go in and grab the books and read the books and return them when they're done. And pleased to say that the kiosk was full of books, and there's a Lakota chapter member who will continue to monitor it and add books as they go along. And it's just a tremendous little addition that we have in the city for inspiring everyone to read books. and the paper books, not just reading on a computer, but actually grabbing a book and reading a paper book. So that's my report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeCoursey. Councilmember Trout Manuel.
Yes, I just have a small report. On Sunday, Emerald Downs is always inviting we're a partnership with their partnership with the city. So they invited us to go. And I was the only council member that showed up, and I was asked to speak and just say a few words. They celebrated Father's Day, and they invited all the horse trainers because they were celebrating 25-year anniversary. And they gave each one of the horse trainers one of these little plaques that said 25 years anniversary, and it has a bunch of horses racing. Then they honored the announcer for being with them for 25 years, and they did a tribute to him, and everybody kind of commented on how much he has changed from the past 25 years. They also honored Mr. Ron Crockett, who started Emerald Downs, and he has brought hundreds and thousands of jobs to the Emerald Downs and contribute thousands of dollars of taxes to the city. And he was given a tribute as well. And that's my report. It was a wonderful day spending it at Emerald Downs.
Thank you. Was that because the Auburn Cup was ran this weekend? Isn't that correct? Thank you for being there in my place. I appreciate you doing that, Councilmember. All right, Councilmember Baggett.
No report, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. The only report I have is a thank you for Councilmember Trout Manuel for standing in for council members that were celebrating Father's Day on Sunday. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Stearns.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no report tonight.
All right, thank you. Councilmember J. Raj.
Thank you, Your Honor. On June 10th, I have one small one. On June 10th, I attended the Sound Cities Association Equity and Inclusion Cabinet team. We've been talking about how we're going to create this group and pass it down to the rest of the group in the PIC association. So, and then as we work our issues, we're going to make the cities follow through as well. But at this point, we're trying to learn from each other what we've done in our cities. And I was glad to let them know that we went through training and the directors are working with Brenda with the inclusion and equity portion of it. So that's my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Malinga.
Nothing to report, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Just a few items. Oh, what's that? No, I've already asked everyone. Thank you. Just a few items. So on Thursday, June 10th, we held another in our series of monthly town hall meetings. This time it was on capital projects and the parks. And thank you, Deputy Mayor DeCoursey, for being on the panel once again. A lot of projects going on. There was a lot of information provided about why are the roads shut down for construction, and there was a lot, like I say, a lot of great information provided. If you would like to know more, if you go to our auburnwa.gov website, you'll be able to find out more information about what capital projects are ongoing this year and what the future plan is. So you know how to maneuver around in our beautiful city during construction months. On Friday morning, the 11th of June, I attended, along with our diversity, equity, and inclusion manager, Brenda Goodson Moore, the auction, the McConkey family auto auction, which is down on D Street Southeast. Every year they put together a fundraiser to provide funds to nonprofits within our community. And this year, their selected nonprofits were the Auburn Food Bank, as well as Nexus Youth and Family. And so we were there to thank them for their work in the community and for their contributions to the nonprofits. And then that evening, I attended a basketball game that was played between the Auburn Police Department and the Auburn Adventist Academy up at the Academy. It was a lot of fun. Sadly, the police department did not win. They played a great team from the Auburn Adventist Academy, and the goal is to do that with more schools in our community so that there is that positive interaction between our police officers and community members, especially the youth, so that there can be those connections made and nurtured. So great job by our police. I was very thankful that there were no injuries. We can't afford any of our officers out with injuries. So very happy that they had all stretched out appropriately before the game began. On Tuesday, the 15th, I had a meeting with our Greater Seattle Partners interim director, Chris Mefford, who has stepped in now that Brian McGowan has left to move back to Atlanta for a job that he felt he could not pass up. And so just talking about the strategy of how we are going to come back out of COVID and the needs for our region and what the next 6 to 8 months look like. Hopefully, Chris will be in that role for at least that period of time to establish what our foundation is going to look like as we move forward and what the cities are going to need from Greater Seattle Partners during that time. On Wednesday, the 16th, Key County Council Member Pete von Reichbauer's Good Eggs Breakfast. I know there were a couple of you there for that. Had Secretary of State Kim Wyman, a great presentation on how secure our elections are in this state. Kim is the only statewide elected Republican in holding a statewide office, but she made very clear that it is more of a nonpartisan position or a bipartisan position. She felt very, very strongly about our mail-in voting as well as the security of our elections. It was interesting to find out that in each county, their elections cannot, as they're tabulating, there can be no internet connection to those files. So there is not a chance for a hacking to take place at that point in the process. It was very, very fascinating, and it gives you a sense of confidence to know that someone of her integrity is holding that role and working with other states who don't have the same level of confidence and experience with mail-in voting. So we should be very, very thankful of her experience. On Thursday, the 17th, I attended from WCIA, our insurance carrier, held a police chiefs forum. This was the first of two parts to go over what some of the recent changes in legislation are going to mean for police in our communities. And Council, you have a presentation coming up by Chief O'Neill and others that will explain in great detail what that means to our communities. But I'll just suffice it to say right now that the level of focus and attention that some crimes have received in the past may not receive that same level of attention from our police department moving forward because of these changes in state law. But they are still being researched as far as what the true impacts are of the recent changes in legislation at the state level. So more to come on that. Chief O'Neill, I know, has been working diligently with our city attorney as well as outside attorneys and the chiefs and the city attorneys of all of the Valley cities to ensure that we understand fully, as much as could be understood at this time, what those changes are going to be and the impacts to the community. On Friday, the 18th, there was a farewell retirement party and golf tournament out at the beautiful Auburn Golf Course for Jim Ferguson, who is retiring from the city after 30 years. He spent many of those years out at the golf course in maintenance. And for the last 6.5 years has been part of our facilities team here that reports to Lisa Moore. And so I'm going to miss Jim a great deal. He would come in always with a smile on his face, ask how everyone was doing. And if it was a Wednesday, you could always be assured that he was going to come in and say hump day. So we wish him the very best in his well-earned retirement. And that is all for my report this evening. And we have no need for a closed or executive session, council. So we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.